Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Gregoire, aka Greg from Greg's Whiskey Guide, the website, but these days and even weeks and more, rather the video channel than the website is more active. I have to slow down a bit though the releases of the videos after having asked people what did they want, the frequency, and also with all the offer from the other channels I was afraid where you were going to saturate. So I'm resuming my videos from A to Z, let's say international, but mostly Scottish single malt. But from time to time I put some themes videos, and I'm gonna put others in French also because the demand is increasing. So we'll alternate between French and English speaking. Sorry about the background sound. And so today I'm doing something that was a bit late, and again apologies people about that. I'm doing the Discrete Malts Part 2. The Part 1 was published 1 year ago, and I will put a link down below in the description so you can have a look after that. Basically the idea, I'm going to summarize much more quickly here. You have the whole explanation at the beginning of the first part video if you want to have a look. Basically the idea was to highlight a bit distilleries that I usually considered as fillers, so that's why I call them discreet, or you can unknown. It's not really unknown but discreet, because most of what they do is going into blended whiskies, and sometimes even 90% of the production. So last time I highlighted Balmenach Distillery, semi-official, let's say, because it's the only indie bottler almost that did bottle it at some time. Balmenach, 12 years old, from once again I forgot, sorry. So Aberfoyle and Knights, which is summarized as Aberco on the back label, with the range Deer Stalker, which can change. The name of these distilleries can change, and they're sometimes anonymous, so be careful. With no distillery name, but there are, contrarily to what I wrote somewhere, there are several distilleries that were under this flag Deer Stalker. First of all, Balmenach, I did review the last time, and just to let you know, this beautiful Glenlassie in the dimensions range of Duncan Teller, a 19 years old cask strength single cask, beautiful one. This time I'm gonna review three distilleries, and through three examples: the Auchroisk distillery in independent bottling. Like I said, independent bottlers are the most common to highlight those distilleries, because there are very few official bottlings available from these distilleries. I don't have any for those distilleries I'm talking about today, but they are still existing. I will tell you more about that, and you will have more information even in the description in order not to lose too much time. So like I said, in the Deer Stalker range there were also, it is finished, there was a beautiful one for only 24 euros. Braeval distillery I'm going to talk about in a minute. 10 years old, beautiful one, finished a long time ago. And to replace it I bought these two. I'm going to try only one. First, this golden cask, which is a Kintra bottling, Kintra Spirits independent bottler, and this is a 12 years old cask strength single cask, bourbon barrel, this I think, yeah. Well, this one I'm going to review for a slight change and for another reason, is also a Braeval, 12 years old, but reduced to 41.5 ABV. and it's a Douglas Lang, the very affordable and good value range single-minded, which I wanted also to highlight. And last but not least, with a French retailer store pick, Strathmill Distillery. 14 years old, 1988 vintage, 43% ABV. And I poured this in advance in my glasses here. So basically the idea is these distilleries were get to know only for those who were under the Diageo flag, which is the Auchroisk and the Strathmill. They were only having Flora and Fauna bottling. So this is the official range, and it's often young. I haven't tried the Strathmill 12 years old Flora and Fauna, and I don't know about Auchroisk as well. Auchroisk, it's hard to spell, I'm sorry, is a distillery that is relatively recent, like Braeval, by the way, as 1974. It is owned by Diageo. It's a mid to big distillery size, let's say, with around 900,000 liters of alcohol per annum. It has 8 stills, and it provides a lot of its whiskey, like I said, for Johnnie Walker, for instance, blended whiskies. But this one I picked a long time ago. It is just 2 or 3 casks, it doesn't really say. Number 90/421/423. It's a port finish. It has been distilled. Let me show you it a bit more. Have been distilled in 1990 April and bottled in September 2003. Bottled at 43% non-chill filtered natural color, which is great. And it was a retailing price around 50 euros, 51 euros. I had it, but I had it a long time ago. Let me check. Yeah, 2012. Yeah, it was something left over the shelves that I see. Oh, a port finish. I like port finishes. I will speak about port finishes later on in another video. I didn't forget. I promised, so I will do it. A special port finishes and a special Madeira finishes to start with. So we're gonna try with the Auchroisk, and I have tasted other Auchroisk. There were, it was called previously the Singleton of Auchroisk, and as it was a bit confusing, they finally dropped the Singleton, and it's a denomination that was later on picked by other brands. There's a Singleton of Glendollen, Singleton of Dufftown, and I'm sure I forgot the last one. Okay, for this one I have a coin from the last drop. Yeah, Chris. And I'm gonna taste them all and tell you what I think and give you my rating. Don't worry, these are not available right now on the market or on secondary market. But why I do this? Because I'm gonna advise you to search for independent bottlings of these. Try before you buy, of course, or have read some reviews of people you trust about these. But I think these are interesting values to find in other more recent independent bottlings, and I'm speaking about the distilleries. So if you can find these, but I'm gonna speak again about, give them a try, don't overlook them. That's what I meant. So starting with this one, and also I picked those 3 because they have some notes in common, and it was interesting in my opinion. So this one is quite a golden golden color, and some nice legs, but they're not staying a lot because of the low ABV. That's really quickly dropping off. But it's interesting. On the nose now for this one, and I'm gonna take my notes in order not to forget everything. And sorry still about the background sound. Nice, already nice candied fruit notes. In between you have oranges, nice flowers. Oh my god, oh, even some angelica, some sweet spices as well. Really lovely nose. So I don't say you must find an Auchroisk in a port finish. I pick up this one because I had the opportunity. The bourbon only casked Auchroisk, which probably provide more simple profile with citrus fruit, vanilla, some sweet spices, some dried herbs. I found this one more interesting, and it's just my opinion, but I wanted to present it to you because of that. So a really lovely nose, beautiful, rounded, with some vanilla sugar for cooking pastries. Yeah, some honey as well. Almost heather honey, but not really. Probably all flowers honey, as we call here. Miel toute fleur in French. Okay, now on the taste. Wow. Ooh. Magnificent oranges notes. Even a bit blood oranges. Diluted between the juice and the sherbet, so not too sugary. Again, some nice. This orangey now turns to a bit green, so we got some tea leaves, some Earl Grey tea leaves in there, I think. Slightly bergamot as well. Have another sip before the water. Oh, the balance is beautiful. It's elegant. It's again on the palate I noted, yeah, mandarin. That's what I struggle to describe. So there is orange, but there's also mandarin. That gives it a little bit acidic thing. And what was that? Yeah, same, and also the sugar, also some nice malted barley, on just right behind it. So yeah, overall very easy, fruity, floral, very simple, not oaky, not super spicy. Now I'm gonna try it with a bit of water. Actually, I wonder if I'm not going to do a blend of all those three, if there is some left, just to see. Just for fun, not really serious. Okay. With a few drops of water, these orangey sides really becomes a bit more mellowed, sweeter. For the French audience, I'm sorry guys, it's a bit like Chamonix with light in sugar, diet Chamonix cakes. It's an old, not sure it still exists, an old pastry confectionery thing. It's very old days souvenirs. That's what, you know, that's what whiskey brings to you. And that's why it's so much an individual experience. So just don't take my word for granted. It's my opinion. It gives you just some orientations in which you might find yourself in agreeing with it or not, because like I said, every tasting is a personal experience. It brings back, it digs into your memory, your sensorial memory, family memory of what when you were young, what you were tasting. And I had a lot of things like that, and in 20 years I can name a lot of family souvenirs, sometimes forgotten, hidden in the memory. And once you find a whiskey that you think that has this note, oh, something's going on, and it's a nice moment. I rated this whiskey to go now further. Sorry, 89 out of 100. And if you don't find it, like I said, search for indie bottlers. Cadenhead, Duncan Taylor, Gordon MacPhail would be probably among the, not the best, but the more consistent choices, but there are many others. Okay, so that's it for the first example. For the second, I really struggle to choose between those two. Like I said, Braeval, I love this distillery. And finally, I said, let's pick the one that you might have the most chances to find an equivalent. I mean, a sister cask. Yeah, 2 sherry butts for this one, but I think it's a refill. So this Douglas Lang whiskey was basically distilled in 2001, bottled in 2013. It's around 41.5 ABV. For this range, it doesn't speak of natural color and chill filtering, so I assume they are both chill filtered and maybe not natural color, but I'm not sure. I couldn't find a certainty about this range. I don't think it's colored, honestly, when I try it. What can I say else? This distillery, Braeval, was first called Bress of Glenlivet, and you're gonna see all the details, the basic details, because the room is limited on the description. But on the description, you gotta have a short resume about the distillery capacity, etc. So this one is owned by Pernod Ricard, the French big group, the second biggest group after Diageo. This distillery was founded in 1973, and it's also a filler, of course, mostly for Ballantines and Chivas Regal this time. This is a distillery that is have a small capacity, let's say, not the smallest, but 4,200,000 of liters per year. It has 6 stills. As an anecdote as well, it's high. It's a bit higher than the others in the landscape, because it's 1,100 feet. So almost as high as Dalwhinnie, distillery, which is West Highlands. But there we're on the Speyside. Yeah, I forgot to show you. This is when you haven't done this for a while, right? So Auchroisk, we're gonna speak of Auchroisk, is here on the north, while you have Strathmill, we're gonna speak after, which is close to it, and these are around the town of Keith, while Braeval, like you can see, is south of Speyside, which means not far. And I went there not at the distillery, but just before it, on my way down to the South Highlands, because here you have the Cairngorms. So that's why it's as high, and that's also why there's so many distilleries there, because it is high here and it is difficult to access, especially in the times there were no highways and stuff, and dip into mountains and stuff. So that's why excisements couldn't come easily there, and that's why there are all these 50 and so distilleries. Now you know. like some famous guy says. For the second one, for this Braeval, I have a coin from New Drum Drinker. You've seen it already. I like it. Very nice. And also, why did I wear this? Of course, it's related to Compass Box. But the other message I want to share with you here is all these, because they're in debottlings, they are less expensive than often the official older ones. And this gives you an opportunity to have an idea of the style of the distillery that's not very famous, and you can have some nice age statements, especially if you go to to Cadenhead, to Gordon MacPhail, sometimes as well Signatory Vintage, and other indie bottlers. So you can have often a good value. So Braeval, yeah, Braeval is a distillery I came across first with this supermarket bottling from the same brand that I talked before about the Balmenach I reviewed in the first part. And this was a lovely fruity estery whiskey, and often what I like about Braeval when it's a bourbon barreled, such as this one, it's a nice estery, almost slightly banana, but mostly pears, yellow fruits, quince, citrus fruit, etc., and a nice floral notes on top of that, vanilla, sweet spices. That's all that's in there, by the way. And this is a single cask bottle at 56.2, 12 years old. Kintra Spirits, again, a golden cask range. These are difficult to find, that's why I rather choose this, even if this is an old bottling. I know Douglas Lang releases from time to time other Braeval expressions. Yeah. So then you have a lighter color here, obviously. Sorry, it's again the lighting. So it's pale, even if it's refill sherry, it's quite pale. So I assume there's no caramel coloring. The legs are staying a bit more than expected, and even a bit more than the other, despite the low ABV. Okay, they're going down now, because I think it's quite fat. So that leads me also to think this is not chill filtered. Of course, the bigger test is with the ice. I won't do it now. So again, nice, beautiful candied fruit, beautiful floral notes. Here there's no port, so it's lighter in the sense of the fruitiness. It's more in the citrus fruit side, more difficult to describe. Yeah, lighter is maybe not the word, but there's less sugar influence, less wine influence. So tasting this blind, I'm not sure I would have picked a sherry cask in there, believe me or not. So might be some third fill, second and third. I don't know. It's not said on the label. The only thing that is said is small batch selection charged from 2 sherry butts, and then the dates, and so 2013 bottling, right? Okay, so let's go for the dose for this one. Again, beautiful floral vanilla notes, but also some malted barley, a hint of nuttiness, and that gives me ding, sherry maybe. Yeah, some kind, even suggesting bitterness on the nose, which is weird, but some green elements, I mean. And again, some tea comes in mind. maybe some black tea and some Earl Grey tea. Let's see if I picked something else on the notes, on my notes. Yeah, a lot of malted barley with an elegant side towards, yeah, caramel. Yeah, red fruit. I think, yeah, apple, red apples, red fruit, caramel, hints of orange juice, but with less sugar. And yeah, something very, it's very hard to translate chatoyant in English, something that's really it's too difficult. Well, let's say brilliant on the palate, brilliant, vivid, and not aggressive, but brilliant in terms of joyful and expressive. I cannot say that in another way. These, I haven't been releasing more than quick notes on these on my website, so that's why, sorry guys, I'm improvising the English translation. But most of it, what's important is my impression right now, I guess, for you. And I see the time is but I wanted to do those together. Yeah, some similarities on the orangey side, less than in the Auchroisk. More nuttiness, still moderate. More malted barley. Beautiful liquid caramel. I have to say, this is one of his advantages here. I like a lot this kind of profile, which is sweet, silky, sexy. Really easy sipper, a beautiful whiskey for beginners, I have to say. And I didn't do it on purpose, but it was by chance. But I think this should please the new dram drinker. Maybe, we'll see later on. Cheers guys, by the way, and cheers everyone. Yeah, so lovely palette. This is uncomplicated. These are not masterpieces of the whiskey I've tried for 20 years. These are easygoing, beautiful whiskies, simple, some enough complexity to have an interest for you. Let's put a bit of just a few drops, because 41.5, honestly, it's just to see the chemical reaction that will create something to let you know if it has some stability or not. And even pick out, water helps also pick out some secondary and tertiary notes that might be hidden by the alcohol at not full, but at the volume it is bottled. And yeah, digressing, I have to open my full volume Highland Park before doing the rundown, but we still have time. We're on letter B, and we'll come to it. The vanilla and the kind of sugary vanilla that those three has in common is coming across more now. This is nice, easy, simple, balance. Balance is the key word once again, as for the first one. I love it. This is beautiful. Simple, beautiful, very well made, great selection. 89 out of 100. Same rating. You believe it? And same, by the way, 89 as well, but it's a completely different profile for the golden cask. Braeval, 12 years old as well. So we're moving on to the third and last distillery, sorry. So we're going back once again here on the north, the Speyside, not completely north, between Keith and Rothes towns. The third, last one with a no-nonsense whiskey coin. I don't have I have only 3 brands, YouTube channels, brands, coins. I have several from the last drop. And I have just the other ones. I don't really buy coins. It's gifts or swap samples, thank you, and stuff like that mostly. Let's go move now to a darker one, a bit darker one. But we don't know if it's caramel color. I assume it could be. This is Strathmill 1988, 14 years old. Captain Burns is the range from Rice du Perron, which is a French retailer, but also a cognac bottler, whiskey cognac maker, bottler, a bit of both. And it's located in South France, but it has some shop in Paris as well. And this is the place for the records where I bought my first Port Ellen, which is gone for long now, on the same range. This Strathmill, let's talk a bit quickly about Strathmill. More information again on the description. 1891 founded, 1891, yeah, on the Speyside as well. This one is Diageo owned. Most of it goes to G&B, Distillery and Brooks blended whiskey. And believe me or not, in 1963 they were owning the brand before Diageo I.D.V. that became Diageo. And at this time G&B was considered as one of the best blended whiskies and had some luxury advertising, like it was champagne, for instance, for its relaunch in France. Official versions, sorry, you have Flora Fauna, 12 years old, probably still on the market. You have a 25 years old, bottled in 2014 for the special releases range, so much more expensive. This one has been distilled in 1988 and bottled in 2002. I got it a few years later for 53 euros. Yeah. Precision. Strathmill is the heart of G&B blended whiskey, as well as Knockandow, Glen Spey, and Auchroisk. So there's another link there. I love Glen Spey Distillery, but I don't have any bottling right now. I've tasted some, beautiful, but as I don't have neither sample nor bottle, I struggle to review it for you guys. Maybe someday. Now let's talk about this before we go too far in waffling or digressing. On the nose. This one has got some air as the first one, because it's open for a long time, but I don't drink it often. So, and I pumped a bit the air last time, so should be not much OBE in there. Yeah, it's getting a bit dusty, which was not in the beginning, so there's still some reaction, oxidation there. But I know it. I tried it a lot of times. I have my notes, so yeah, it's more leafy than the two others, definitely. Some tobacco leaves, some tea leaves, black and a bit of green, slightly bit of Earl Grey as well. It's been a long time I haven't tried it, so I'm just checking. Yeah, infusion of oranges, that's what I was looking for in my notes. Yeah, it's much more complex on the palate. Yeah, okay, cheers guys. And if I forgot something, I have to read my notes, I'm sorry. This also because it's quick. Yeah, it's a bit watery. It's what I regret. It was not 46 or 48 for this one. while the two others are okay with their ABV. It's also probably a bit of a loss, I have to admit. The OBE, it was richer and more dense before. So yeah, usually that's a bit of herbal, malty, a bit nutty notes, spicy in Strathmill. I think they're better served by refill sherry casks. I think they are here. So if you come across Duncan Taylor in this range did a lot of beautiful Strathmill. For instance, there's one I'm quoting in the description, a nice 21 years old, I couldn't buy, but yeah, they did several nice ones. So yeah, on the palate, quite complex. There's some caramel, some milk chocolate, some oranges, some Earl Grey tea, light Earl Grey tea. What else? Yeah, black tea, I said it. There's a slight green note, like mushrooms and tobacco for cigars, Habana cigars. There's some honey, heather honey. There's some, yeah, herbe de Provence, South France herbs. So yeah, thyme, rosemary, and laurel. That's what I picked. They're a bit gone now with the oxidations, but that's what I picked during the most of it. So yeah, I wanted to review before it got to a level where I had to put it in this small sample, and we're basically losing almost everything before it recovers a month or so after. Yeah, I'm gonna put some water, even if it's getting a bit dangerous here. This one, yeah, clearly suffered from OBE. I cannot rate it now. It was rating 91.5 out of 100. It was much richer before. But basically, yeah, the idea with this series, I don't know if I'm gonna do others. I still have other bottlings under that could come under this theme. But the idea was to highlight some less known distilleries where I advise you to go and check some indie bottlings of them. Try before you buy if you can, or try when the festival will reopen, or swap samples. Give these distilleries a chance. I think this is beautiful. They're beautiful. Okay, some strength comes back a bit with all this complexity. Malty, chocolatey, orangey, floral, honeyed. It's a lovely whiskey. I should have put it in a smaller sample, but I don't have for every one of my collection. I didn't thought of it also. Maybe it's time now. There you go. Thank you for watching. I hope it was not too long to I hope it entertains you a bit, and I will come back for a shorter review of only one whiskey next time, and later on other rundowns. Thank you very much. Take care and see you next time. Bye bye.